All right, it's Sunday afternoon. I have 15 minutes before I have to be at my physical therapy appointment, and I have no more time to make videos today. And I'm exhausted. This is my fifth or sixth one today, and I feel like I've been running nonstop back and forth from my house to do a chore, to come back, to go to the gym, to come back, to work more. It has been insane. And this is what every weekend feels like. But I think it's the additional Arizona heat that's just draining. It's just getting from your front door into your car. You start sweating bullets. And at the same time, you're like, you know what? I really, really need to work out more because I'm gaining weight uncontrollably because I never have time to do anything. And you ask yourself, it's like, well, when is this going to stop? It's never going to stop. And that's the misery of daily life is it's never going to stop. This is the pace that we're expected to continue until they put us in the pine box. And to me it's unsustainable. I wake up in the morning and I tell myself I have to sleep an extra hour because I'm tired. And I feel like I spend so much time feeling tired because I'm constantly having to work more hours. And it's not enough. I'll tell you that right now. It's just not enough. And by enough, I mean, when are we going to get comfortable? What's the amount of hours that you have to work in order to live a comfortable life? And the answer to that is there's no such thing. They expect you to work until you can't work anymore. And that's the sad part of our society is that we've normalized working yourself into an early grave. And with that said, let's get into our monologue for today. You ever wake up and realize your whole life feels like an unpaid overtime? Like you don't live here, you just clock in, clean up, pay bills, and try not to fall apart. Every free minute you get isn't actually free, it's just time you're supposed to spend fixing all the damage work did to you. And then Monday shows up again like, hope you enjoyed your 6 hours of survival this weekend, loser. Now get back in the cage because the wage cage is getting cold. And that's the sad point is that the wage cage is always waiting for us. And I believe that at no point are we supposed to feel anything but fear, disgust, humiliation. That's all I feel every day. I'm, how do I put this? I don't like what I do, and most of you don't like what you do. But it's not like we have options. There isn't a button that I can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, today I would like a high paying, comfortable job with job security, plenty of benefits, and long vacations. That just doesn't happen. That's not what's out there for poor people. It's the exact opposite that's out there for poor people. A life that doesn't work for us. And with that said, let's get into talking point number one. Modern adulthood isn't freedom, it's a maintenance work for survival. It's maintenance work for survival. Very, very well put. You don't live in your 20s and 30s. You manage. You maintain your car, your body, your inbox, your bank account, your apartment. The dream life they sold you. It's buried under laundry piles and medical bills. You spend every free moment recovering from the work it takes to be allowed to exist. That's exactly how I feel. When I get home from Evil Corp in the afternoon after 5 o'clock, and I think about what's left of my soul that's been crushed into oblivion, the soul sucking nature of 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever hours you work, it just sends you home feeling this very unsettling feeling in your stomach, knowing full well that there's never going to be enough. Evil Corp will always need more. And you just give what you have, and that's all you have to give. But that doesn't satisfy Evil Corp. Evil Corp wants everything from you, every drop of you it wants. And you just kind of like think to yourself, when am I going to have time just to sit around and do nothing? And when are you going to have time to do your hobbies? Never. When are you going to have time to live your actual life? Never. We moved into an era in human history in which you're never supposed to enjoy anything. I mean, I've had more people, more well off people tell me in the last 6 months that they just can't afford to go on vacation. They can't afford to take the time off from work. They don't have the money in their bank account, and they're not going to go into debt to go on a vacation that they can't afford. And so many of these people, and the people that are better off, people with family money, they'll go on those vacations and they'll come back and then they'll say it wasn't as relaxing as that they had hoped because they stayed connected to the office. And to that I say, if you're not getting paid, there's no reason why you should be working. And it was really hard for me at one point until this last November. I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd check my email, get ready to go into the office, and my days were up to 12 hours long. Once I realized how much work wasn't going to promote me, wasn't going to give me a substantial raise, that I had no future under the current management system, that unless I left or they changed management, this wasn't going anywhere. Because if management sees you as disposable, who cares what you do there? Talking point number 2. The system doesn't want you happy. It wants you tired enough to obey, but functional enough to keep working. That reminds me of a quote I once read in a book about a very heavy drinker who was a working alcoholic. I think in our current society, these corporations want you to be addicted to work. It tastes like crap. It makes you sick. It makes you delusional. And it hurts your soul. To me, it qualifies as poison. Happiness is a distraction. Rest is dangerous. People with energy start asking scary questions like, why am I working 50 hours a week and I'm still extremely poor? Why does my entire life feel like unpaid labor? Because it is. I've mentioned this many times on this channel as we are in the ultimate work release program. You wake up, the sadistic warden, the sadistic warden opens your cell door and tells you you need to be back within 8 hours, only to let you back into your cell to power down. And then you've got to continue working at home. I can't imagine torturing an animal as much as human beings are tortured by work. Evil Corp doesn't care. Motivation every morning is brought to you by a car battery and 2 wires that get attached to your junk. And if you aren't more motivated, these treatments will go on all day until you find the motivation. Why does my entire life feel this crappy? I think it's because we're not really alive. I've come to the conclusion that a person who's alive wakes up every morning with a gratitude for just waking up, being fully capable, and going out into the world to do the things that they actually want. But we have tens of millions of people that don't feel that way. That life is in itself a punishment for being born. Again, I am going to reiterate why there are so many pregnant women in my background art. Those women represent the people creating the next version of the proletariat. Whether Susie Rottencrotch knows it or not, every time she lets Johnny Sixpack give it to her from behind, she's making certain that the machine has free labor in the future. Once Susie stops producing the labor of the future, that's when Evil Corp starts to worry. That's when Evil Corp starts looking at how they're going to trick the proletariat into producing future batteries. Because inside of a pregnant woman's body, there isn't another human being that's going to enjoy their lives. No. There's another battery for the machine to use, another widget for that needs to be manipulated into believing that this is the only way. That's all humans are good for. is to be manipulated into believing that there can be no other way, that work is the only way that you are allowed to live. Remember, I'm going to say this in every video from now on. You will be happy and you will own nothing, which is the exact condition that I'm in right now. If I had to choose between being alive right now and not being alive as a poor person, the only way that you could get me to accept this life, this misery that we call life, is by making me rich. There's no other way. No one else wants to live poor because being poor sucks. Because living poor means that you're in constant fear. And being in constant fear is stressful because none of us know how long we have left at this evil corp, or how long it will take us to find another job, or how much trouble it is going to be to figure out what we're going to do if we can't find work. Because I know lots of people right now who have been looking for work for a very long time. You guys tell me about this in the comments section all of the time. The perfect worker isn't joyful. The perfect worker is just busy enough to shut up and keep moving. Just keep moving. That always reminds me of those people that you hear about in the news where no one even notices that they've passed on. They're still sitting in their office chair, checked out of this world, and no one notices until there's a smell. Well, I'll tell you this much, the proletariat has a smell. And it's that exact smell. The smell that you're not really alive. The smell that you know you're disposable. The smell of low wages and dirty feet. The smell of alcohol and substance on your person. The smell of dirt and oil. That's what the proletariat smells like. In every sense of the word, you smell disposable. And Evil Corp knows that. That at any moment, they can unplug you, throw you away, and you'll have to figure out what you're going to do next. That's how I felt every day of my life ever since I started working. Like there was no place for me within a society in which I participate in that society as a poor person. I'm going to leave it at that because I have to leave for my appointment in exactly 1 minute.